Hello everyone, it's Lucia at Lushspaces again. Today we're going to shoot another video regarding how to choose a garden style, and in this one we're going to talk about an informal gardens. So let's have a look. So the informality of a cottage garden or the wilderness, as to speak, of a wildlife garden can be very hard to achieve in a small garden, especially in a town. But we can achieve the wilderness effect by, for example, planting up walls so the modern buildings don't intrude so much. So eventually we can create an informal garden here as well. So the cottage garden style is usually created by design and by the use of paving materials, for example, using bricks instead of the modern paving slabs, but also by the choice of plants. Relatively little hard landscaping is necessary for a cottage garden. Brick paths and perhaps stepping stones through the beds may be just enough. And it is the position of old-fashioned plants and vegetables that actually create the casual but colorful look associated with this type of the garden. The best approach is to mix annuals and perennials, especially those that will self-seed, such as calendulas, for example, or Limanthus douglasii, which will grow everywhere and create a colorful chaos. And if flowers self-sow at the edge of the path or in between the flowers, then leave them where they are, leave them where they have chosen to put their roots down. And maybe plant some vegetables amongst the flowers or put decorative beans up canes at the back of the border. A small wildlife garden can seem almost as a contradiction, but even a tiny plot can offer a refuge to all those creatures when you design and also plant with wildlife in mind. You know, wildlife enthusiasts sometimes let their garden go wild. Although this is not really necessary, because garden like this one looks well kept and pretty, yet it still provides long vegetation where animals and also insects can hide and also find food. There can be water to provide an aquatic life, but also flowers and shrubs to attract bees and butterflies, and berries and seeds to attract birds. Also, an orchard can be a magnet for wildlife of many kinds. So, for example, the woodland effect can be quite impractical for a small garden. But if you do have long and also narrow back garden, then trees and shrubs can also be used quite effectively. If you choose quick growing deciduous trees with a light canopy like birch trees, so the Biophilia species, they are a very good choice where there is a space, but they can also grow tall. Avoid the evergreens, otherwise you can lose the benefit of the spring flowers and ferns, and they are such a huge feature of the traditional woodland garden. Instead, you can use small growing azaleas and rhododendrons to provide the color beneath the canopy of trees, and you can fill in the ground cover plants with naturalized bulbs such as wood anemones, such as ferns or primroses. You can use the woodland effect to block out any unattractive views or overlooking houses, and as a bonus, woodland gardens are also very low on maintenance. So rocks or water feature alone very rarely work as a design. Usually they are most effective when they are part of a larger scheme. However, when you combine rocks and water, you can create a very naturalistic style in an informal garden. So instead, the rectangular lawn that are usually associated with the small houses and gardens, try broadening the borders with gentle meandering sweeps to merge with an unobstructed boundary. But if the distant view is unappealing, You can take the border round so that the lawn curves to extend beyond the point of view. And you can also use shrubs or lower growing plants to create a border, like something that you might find at the edge of the woodland. And lastly, if the plants are more important to you than the actual design, you can use a lot of sweeping beds and borders and heavily concentrate on the use of shrubs and different herbaceous plants to actually give the garden the shape. And here you can allow the plants to spill over the edges and let them grow informally among the paving. And if you want to create a strong sense of design within such a plant-oriented small garden, use the focal points such as ornaments, different garden seats, water features or bird baths. Great, so this was another video on choosing the style for your garden. I hope you did find some value in it. Let me know how you're doing with your gardens, and obviously don't forget to subscribe and like this video if you did like it. And I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.